Hello, 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 and welcome to The Zone, the place where we help you level up your presentation skills. And every episode, I have a very interesting guest, and today is no exception. One of my favorite guests, she is returning, Nadia Boutaoui, and Nadia is a tech innovation leader who has not only a PhD in genetics, but also an executive MBA. So this combination between science and business makes Nadia an extremely valuable resource who can help entrepreneurs, business leaders, and innovators turn ideas into scalable, market-ready solutions. And when I met Nadia, I immediately felt we were cut from the same cloth, especially our passion for AI. So we were talking about what could we share with our audience in the zone, and we came up with a topic that we call Start with Who. And it's all about knowing your audience. So let me bring in Nadia Boutaoui. Nadia, hello and welcome back to the zone. It's such a pleasure having you here. Nadia, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Claudia, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be back to the zone and to share some of our shared mission to help entrepreneurs, to help founders excel at what they do so they can improve their impact and also improve their income as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's usually, the bottom line is a very, very important aspect. So, Nadia, before we dive in, let's very quickly just say hello to those who joined us live here on YouTube. We have Yash from India and we have Jole from Hamburg in Germany. And it's a very small group right now. I think there's only one person watching, but Jole mentioned, are you experiencing any technical problems? And no, we don't, at least not that I'm aware of. So I'm not quite sure whether we are broadcasting successfully or not, but let's just keep going here. We have one person still online with us. So Nadia, usually we are starting out with a little bit of trivia just to get things going. And even though we just have one person online right now, and maybe we don't, let's still just dive into the trivia and get this show going. So the first question is actually something personal about Nadia. And okay, so here we see Tracy just joined us from London. So we do have some signal going out on YouTube. Tracy, such a great pleasure seeing you here in the comments as well. So we have, I think, 3 people right now online. So let's dive into this question. And the question is the following. Oops, no, that's not the question. This is the question. In which field did Dr. Boutaoui earn her PhD? In which field did Nadia earn her PhD? Was it in molecular biology, in genetics, C, biochemistry, or D, pharmacology? Again, the choices are A, molecular biology, B, genetics, C, biochemistry, and D, pharmacology. Enter your answer in the chat, and I am not sure. Again, there seem to be potentially some technical issues here. If I look at the comments, I don't see any of the answers coming in, but Yash was mentioning that there is quite a lag today. So We are just dealing with the lag, so let's see if any answers are coming in. Otherwise, of course, playing trivia doesn't make a lot of sense if we have like, a 30-second or a minute lag between when we are talking and our audience is seeing it out on their screen. So I'll give it another 4 or 5 seconds to see if any answer is coming in. Yes, something is coming in. Yeah, there are lots of lags. I just closed lots of tabs and see if it was me. No, it seems to be something happening with YouTube. Tatiana has lag issues as well. Hello, Tatiana. Thank you so much for joining us. It must be on the YouTube side, because on my side, everything looks perfect. But again, yeah,
It must
back,
be. Yeah, it
back to...
must be because there is a huge storm here in the US.
Okay.
Remember, we
So
had like a big storm back in December? The same thing today, actually. There is no schools, everything is
must be at my
affected.
end, huh?
But I'm here.
Yeah. Our conversation is going very well without any lagging between you and me. So not sure where it is, but let's
Mhm.
just keep on plugging away. And so the answer for those that are watching this on replay, or those that watching us with a minute or two delay, or maybe even longer, let's see what the answer is. It is genetics. Now, you first got your PhD in sciences, in genetics, and then you did an MBA, an executive
Mhm.
MBA. Tell me, how did you go from one almost extreme to the other extreme? What was pushing you towards that, Nadia?
Absolutely. So briefly, I grew up with agriculture, like land. Growing up till the age of 18, I fell in love with biology, how plants work, and so on. I did an engineer in agriculture and then specialized in genetics and plant breeding, received a scholarship to do a plant genetics PhD in England. And then life happened. I moved with my husband to the US. And there, my first research postdoc was on how do we use plants in order to produce products of interest. In my case, it was Taxol, which is an anti-cancer compound. While studying that, I got very curious on how these plant compounds stop cell division for cancer. Was to Harvard Medical School. That's where I studied complex diseases, including asthma and respiratory diseases. Then I founded a lab for respiratory disease research and epigenetics at the University of Pittsburgh. There, I had the privilege to have groundbreaking research to find what makes some kids have asthma and others don't. And despite those discoveries, two of my kids had asthma. And I saw firsthand that if these technologies or these discoveries don't move from the lab to the bedside or to the market to help the patient that need it the most, in this case, my own kids, there is something missing. So that got me interested in something called translation science. How do we translate discoveries and move them from the lab to the market? I did that while I was still a faculty at the University of Pittsburgh. It wasn't enough for me, so I did an executive MBA in healthcare with focus on tech innovation and entrepreneurship. And I've been helping um, startups, founders in the healthcare space do just that, to move their innovation to the market so they can make the impact they aspire to.
That is amazing, Nadia. So you basically, just to help your family, started in, and then, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Now, how did you get into AI? Because I know from following you on LinkedIn and other platforms, you are very passionate about AI, specifically generative AI, large language models like ChatGPT,
Mhm.
and you're using them so effectively. And we are going to spend some time here helping our audience to use it in such an effective way that you do as well. How did you discover AI? Did this already start during your studies, or is it something that just came to you later on and you latched on it like you did?
That is a great question, Claudio. When it comes to innovation in general and leveraging new things, I've always been at the forefront, whether it's establishing a new epigenetic platform when back in 2000 and late 2000s when the field was very new in epigenetics. So I established a platform at Harvard Medical School and then trained people on how to effectively use it. So I'm very at the forefront of innovation in general. Being a mom of four, a full-time working full-time, and an entrepreneur, I'm always looking for ways that I can leverage technologies and innovations to do more and spend more time in my zone of genius. In my case, it's the innovation and the impact by working in cross-functional teams so we can solve complex problems. And AI is one of those innovations where you can, I think of it as the electricity of the new age or even the internet in the 90s. It's a great opportunity. However, with great opportunities come a lot of noise. How do you
Mhm.
filter out the noise from what's real? How do you focus on what matters? How do you focus on that 20% that drives the 80% results? And that's what I excel at. Whenever there is a lot of noise, I go back to basics and then you build a strong foundation so you can go higher. And I'm going to borrow the root analogy from our friend here, Tracy. When you are building strong roots, you can go higher and you can withstand the variabilities along your way. So AI was no different for me. I've been using advanced business analytics, which is very close to AI, for years now,
Mhm.
including in my research. So basically, what we do is large data sets that represent our target disease that we're studying, and then find out what's the likelihood for this particular kid or patient to develop asthma given X, Y, and Z. So I'm very familiar with large data sets. And the key is to ask the right questions. A lot of people try to find the solution and then go back and find the problem to solve. I think we should focus on the problem, then find what's the right tools in the right order or process to solve that problem with the least effort. And that's where AI excels at.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So I'm keeping an eye on our chat window here, and it looks there really must be some kind of a big lag because Tracy's answer B just came in just a minute ago, and Mabel is reporting that the stream is interrupting. So yeah, 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 there's definitely a lag. Yash just came in here as
It
well.
must be that, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. This is the cards we are dealt with right now. I'm hesitant to stop the stream now and then restart it again because that usually messes up things even more. So let's just keep on plugging away. And even though we might not get any answers, I'm still tempted to bring up the next the trivia question because it leads us nicely into our topic of start with who. And there is a very, very famous book out there, and it's called Start With Why. So I wonder if that author was wrong, or maybe there's just a certain distinction there. So anyways, start with why. Who wrote that book? Was it A, Stephen Covey, B, Marianne Williamson, C, Simon Sinek, or D, Malcolm Gladwell? And again, we are dealing with a couple of technical issues here right now, so I do not expect any answers to come in a decent time frame here. So let me ask you, Nadia, who wrote the book Start With Why?
Mm-hmm. Simon Sinek. See?
Simon Sinek, of course, Simon Sinek. And was he wrong? Was he wrong? Should we start with the why, or should we start with the who?
I would say it depends on the question that you're asking and what stage you're at. So if you are, talking about purpose, talking about your mission, your vision, yeah, it makes sense to start with why, because it gives you that 30,000-foot view on what is your big goal, what is your North Star per se. However, when you're trying to zoom in as you get closer and closer and closer to the forest and to the trees, I think asking the question of who can take priority, because think of it this way: if you're talking to a different audience, would you talk the same way if you're a founder and you're pitching to an angel investor versus you're pitching to a potential client versus you're pitching to a nonprofit? Your message would be different, because it's not about you. And that's a mistake I see a lot of founders, especially technical founders. They get into the weeds of the details about their tech and what it can do and so on. Let me break it to you: it's not about you and your awesome tech. It's about them and what's in it for them.
Indeed.
And once you switch that hat from me to who you're talking to and what's their pain point, how can your solution help them achieve that transformation? So and you position your messaging, your presentation, whether it's in person, whether it's an elevator pitch or a long pitch, with that in mind, you move from informing them to influencing them.
Indeed. Indeed. And, you know, I've watched Simon Sinek's TEDx talk many times, right? And I, of course, recommend it to many of my clients as well, because there is something profound there about the why. Because so many people start with the what they're doing, right? And nevertheless, one of the examples Simon Sinek makes is about Apple. That Apple was really a master in starting with the why. But if you really think about it, wrapped into that why was actually also the who. Because Apple was very deliberate that they are speaking to the crazy ones, the ones that are out there changing the world, right? And so starting with who, when you proposed this as a topic for today, I was all over it. I was like, that's exactly it, right? Starting with who, and you can ask any presentation trainer or coach or read a book about presentation skills. The one recurring theme is always, you need to know your audience. This is the absolute key. Only if you know your audience and if you know what's inside of their mind, what they feel, what they think about, their needs, their desires, their pain points that they have. The more you understand that, the better you can tailor your message and find the words that truly, truly resonate with that market. So this is a perfect case for generative AI, right? So Nadia, how are you using generative AI to help you get deep insight into the psychology of your audience?
So when it comes to businesses that make it versus the ones that don't, the ones that make it are the ones that understand their target segment.
So I'm not sure if this stream is still going on or not. We lost Nadia along the way, and we are anyways at the very end of this episode here. Unfortunately,